Mr. Mike Israetel has been the laughingstock of the internet for the past few months. I mean, if you're a part of the online fitness community, you've probably seen other YouTubers throwing tomatoes at him for his ridiculous exercise selection, overly inflated ego,
I'm both on a raw IQ scale smarter than almost every coach, maybe every coach.
and just overall his odd behavior on other people's podcasts.
I look at the pond and the trees and I'm like all I feel is rage.
But today, I want to investigate his dirty little secret, that being his personal YouTube channel. You know, the one that used to be linked at the bottom of the RP page until they realized that the regular viewers are going over there and finding out just how stupid Mr. Mike really is. And you know, when a quote-unquote intellectual influencer is trying to hide something from you, that obviously means we should dig into it even more. And that is exactly why I spent 5 hours this past Sunday just going down the weird rabbit hole that is Mr. Jizratel's second channel. And oh boy, did I find a bunch of stinky garbage that I will now metaphorically make you smell. Okay, that's not the greatest analogy. Let's just dig into the first amazing video that is titled, "Things are way better than you think." I know, get ready to be told how good you have it from a millionaire that made his wealth by grifting online with his shitty PhD. Don't you just love that?
Imagine a world in which you don't make any more money, but if you work for an hour and get $5, that $5 buys you like a buffet's worth of food and your own mistress to feed it to you and then feed her sex organs after that. Now imagine a world in which you get paid in like 50,000 Zimbabwean dollars or some shit like that for like an hours of work and you can buy almost nothing with it. Who's got actually the better deal?
So what Mr. Jizretel is talking about here is inflation. He's using time, price, and obscure food metrics to convince you that people today have more buying power than they did in the 1970s. And well, sure, you can get knockoff Nike socks for pennies on Temu and your iPhone costs $1,000. The things that people actually care about, you know, the essentials like housing and food, are not just slightly a worse deal than they were in the 70s, but they're so bad to the point that it's depressing. Since Mike himself was using the 70s as an example, let's look at the year 1974. I picked this year because it's close to the middle of the decade, and also because it's the earliest year that we can look back to in both of the charts. So what are we looking at here, ladies and gentle Zoorps? Well, this is the real median household income in the United States. The source for this is the US Census Bureau, just so we don't get anything twisted. And in 1974, the average household, you can just think of this as a married couple working normal average jobs, was making $28,720 per year. Let's call it 29 grand just to make it simple. Okay, now let's look at this chart. This is the average sales price of houses in the US. The source for this one is the US Census Bureau and the US Department of Housing. And in 1974, the average sales price of a home was, oh, would you look at that, $38,000. Meaning that if you and your partner lived with your parents for a year, you know, you penny pinched a lot, within about a year and a half or two, you could just buy a home with cash. I know, the penny pinching would have to be extreme, the spendings would basically have to be zero, but if you wanted to do it, within 2 years of just working normal jobs or less, you could do it. Now, let's look at the same numbers for 2024, since that's the newest data we have. The median personal household income was about $45,000, so it has gone up. And now let's see the average sales price of a home in 2024. It seems to be just around $500,000. Now, ladies and gentle Zoorps, you don't have to be a 160 IQ genius with a bogus PhD to tell that the average person in today's day and age is basically never going to afford a home. And forget buying it in cash. I mean, you might not even be able to get a loan from the bank to buy the house because your income is just not high enough. Now, people have done this with other essentials like groceries. Obviously, we can't compare products and prices from the 70s, but even looking back at the last 5 to 6 years, the trend is clear. Someone on Reddit tracked grocery prices for everyday items from 2019 to 2025, and the overall price for the same products increased over 40%, with certain items like eggs increasing over 600% in their price in just those 6 years. And if we look at the income chart again, we can see that the average American is only making 5% more money compared to 6 years ago. Again, let me repeat that. Basic groceries are 41% more expensive, and the average American is only making 5% more per year. Does that look like it's getting better or worse, Mr. Jizretel? Now, this is not even mentioning shrinkflation, you know, the fact that the packages are getting smaller quietly over time, and the fact that the quality of the food is getting worse. But you know, who cares about that stuff? I mean, certainly not Mr. Grifter over here. But okay, let's see in what other ways you, the average person, have it better according to Mike.
What about TVs? I did an adjustment. This is a really interesting way to look at it. How many pixels, Scott, am I paying for in my TV, 1975 to 2025? And I got a roughly 400x improvement. If you wanted theoretically to get a 2025 $500 average quality TV, it would have cost you around $200,000.
Wow, a 400 times improvement.
What a deal!
Hey, you guys might not be able to afford housing or food, but that new Chinese TV that you just bought that's plagued with ads and that's going to self-destruct in 2 years once the warranty is up is now bigger and better than ever. You can at least use your new cheap TV to sit at home and distract yourself from the fact that the world is spiraling towards a dystopian hellscape. I mean, most of Mike's points in the first part basically boil down to maybe you can't afford housing, maybe you can't rent by yourself, maybe your hospital bills are putting you in debt, and yes, maybe everybody's suffering a mental health crisis on the daily basis because of social media, and sure, the people are angrier and more politically divided than ever, and it's true that a bunch of wars are brewing around the world that have nuclear consequences, but hey, at least you can buy Meta's VR headset for $300 and jerk off to anime girls in your mom's room that she's renting out to you for $300. People in the 70s could never imagine that kind of technology and freedom. Before we leave this poopy diaper of a video behind, there is one more part that I wanted to mention because I just found it hilarious.
Climate control. In 1975, you had window unit air conditioning, maybe. Central air conditioning in rentals was far from universal. In 2025, central HVAC is routine. It's the standard.
Ankh is really talking about climate control in households. Like, young people today can afford to buy a house, or let alone rent one by themselves. Like, yeah, maybe you're sharing that small shitty New York City apartment with 15 people, but at least you have slightly better ways of cooling your balls down, so stop crying, you don't know how good you have it. The rest of this video is him literally talking about how flying on a plane is cheaper now and how your TV is better for gaming. I'm not even joking, like, these were actually his big points on why you have it so good nowadays. Gaming and traveling by plane is cheaper. You know, the real important stuff. But hey, to his credit, where the modern person does have a real advantage is they can subscribe to Zoorp for free. That's like a 7,000% increase compared to the people in the 70s. I mean, those poor peasants didn't even know about Zoorp. Could you imagine living like that? Anyways, let's hop over to the second, even more deranged video called Robotics Could Actually Help End Poverty, which, as you can imagine, knowing Mike Israetel, won't be a serious debate about the pros and the cons of robotics and AI. It will just be Mike Israetel jerking off to robots for, let's just check here, 49 minutes? God, why am I doing this to myself?
First, I really do think the robots are coming.
There we have it, folks. Mike Israetel said that the robots are coming. We can just leave it there, right? No, I have to keep watching. Oh, it gets really bad. Okay, let's see it.
Multiple companies today have humanoid robots currently working in factories already. So the capability is really improving and the cost is really reducing.
Yeah, that's so cool, Mike. Do you not see the possibility that maybe the big corporations will just replace human workers with robots because they don't have to pay the robots nor give them any benefits, you know, to like cut costs? Like companies in America have been doing for, I don't know, forever. Ankh is still out here believing it will trickle down. Like, yeah, Mike, any moment now. All the wealth from the top will eventually trickle down. Just you wait, buddy. Any moment now. I mean, I hate to be the bearer of bad news for Mr. Mike Israetel, but we already have the required resources to end homelessness and world hunger. Like, literally all of it. Not only can we solve that, but we can have money left over. We just aren't doing it because, well, people need mega yachts, private jets, and islands. Ending human suffering is kind of a low priority for, you know, powerful people. I hate to break it to you, Mike. But to boil down this delusional schizophrenic rant, bro is basically saying robots will be better than humans, they will produce much more value at the workplace, and they'll be able to make new robots themselves, so the global GDP growth will explode, thus making everybody rich.
If we can print more robots and they can cover their own costs and then some, we get that bloom of productivity. Robots making robots, and each robot makes way more production than it is to cover the costs of more robots.
Ah, I get it now. So you get a robot that makes robots, and then that robot makes 2 other robots, and then all of those robots make even more robots. I see where this is going, Mr. Mike. If Mike Israetel was in the Pokemon universe, he would for sure be buying the golden Pokeball Magikarp on SSN. I mean, I just know it. You see, after torturing myself to watch this entire video, I realized that at no point does Mr. Jizz mention how this improves the economy for normal everyday people. You know, the majority of people living on Earth right now. What Mike is describing here is something called the K-shaped economy, meaning that if the rich are making money and they're spending a lot, that will keep the stocks up, and that will cover for the fact that the other part of the letter K, you know, the people that already have it bad, are having it worse. So in that sense, yeah, robots are freaking sweet, dude. If you're the guy that owns the robot company, or if you're Amazon and you need workers in your warehouse that you can pay basically nothing and treat like fucking garbage, then yeah, man, robots will be fucking sweet for you. But if you were the warehouse worker that got replaced by a robot, well, be prepared to have some of the worst years of your life. But to be honest, who cares about you, Mr. Warehouse Worker? The S&P 500 is going up and the TVs are getting cheaper now than they were 50 years ago, so stop fucking complaining, dude. I think this one comment summarizes the video really well, saying, I would like to point out that the reason peasants were hungry in the Middle Ages wasn't because there wasn't enough land or farmers to grow the food to feed them. It was because the wealthy and powerful controlled the entire means, land. AI and robotics will be no different unless we force it to be. And I know there will be people in the comments that are coping with basic universal income, but yeah, I don't know what to tell you about that one, brother. That's wishful thinking at best. If you truly think that the country that won't give your grandma free healthcare for her broken hip is going to suddenly change and start paying people to sit around and do nothing, yeah, I think you're in for a rude awakening, brother, and I might have a bridge in Brooklyn to sell you. By the way, sorry to dunk on the US healthcare system, fellow Americans, you know I love y'all, but y'all rank 15th in the world in terms of healthcare quality, and every country that ranks above you has either free universal healthcare or much more affordable options compared to the US. I mean, come on guys, you gotta get that fixed. Okay, I didn't believe the term mental labor was a real thing until I tried to watch 5 Mike Israetel second channel videos. I mean, I feel like I've worked 40 years of the most depressing office job in the span of 5 hours. If you told me this is what they used to torture prisoners in Guantanamo Bay, I would believe you at this point. But before we send off this mentally torturous video, I do want to quickly cover the amazing breaking down my flaws and how I'm fixing them video from Mike Israetel. And this one is hilarious for many different reasons, not only because he made a very similar video to this a year ago, but also because of this comment saying, this video is invisible to all Dr. Mike critics. I mean, I just found this one super funny, not only because, well, I'm right here watching this poopy pamper of a video, but also because he doesn't know you, little bro. You don't have to defend him. It's actually okay. This video, as you may expect, is a big nothing burger. Like, he doesn't actually bring up any of his major flaws, like racism, AI-induced psychosis, overly inflated ego compared to the results he produces.
I'm both on a raw IQ scale smarter than almost every coach, maybe every coach.
The blatant lying that he does, and so on and so forth. You know, it's the Israetel special. Make a clickbait title where you apparently self-reflect on the big drama that's surrounding you, only to give your audience a big old can of nothing, spending an hour skirting around the actual problems that exist. But the reason why I bring this video up is because it gives me hope for the fitness community going forward. It does appear that a lot of people in the comments aren't buying this crap anymore, which just warms my heart, to be honest. Zoorplings, watch this video where I go over even darker details about Mike Israetel's deprived thoughts and downright racist views. Click here, I'm sure you'll like it if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you Zoorplings in the next one. Zoorp out.